began developing 2 days ago. And from that point on, these terrible events kept on snowballing in a reign of terror that has not abated. The main advice news reporters have been able to get sources is to tell private citizens to stay inside their homes behind locked doors.
A state of chaos and disorder is upon us. Will you take up arms? Will you help us make our last stand? The time is now. Let us be heard as we sing our way into battle.
Beyond, what the fuck is that?
That was Virtual Voyager by John Lemon and Lemonade. Great channel over there on YouTube. Definitely go over there, and now I'm live streaming from Cicada channel. give them a like and subscribe over there, John Lemon and Lemonade. Very good thing. That was a message from John Lemon with composer Michael A. Levine called Virtual Voyager. And now we're going to play Solstice by Cicada 3301. This is on the Sophia Music channel. And then we'll get into the latest with Cicada 3301, the solving of the Liber Primus, and the return of some old solvers from the Cicada glory days, and some information they dropped into the Discord about the origins of Cicada 3301 and another prophecy of Thomas Schoenberger's confirmed. So lots to get into tonight. Very interesting stream. Please stick around. Right at the end there, just the last thing in there, obviously, hold on, go back to, what is that if not the Ethereum sort of symbol for Ethereum, which is the blockchain the Cicada token is on. So if you like go to Cicada token and check out the Cicada token that winners of the puzzle are getting and stuff like that, it's built on the Ethereum blockchain, and right there at the end of this is the Ethereum blockchain, obviously. Yeah, the sun erupts, Guerrilla Press, absolutely. So the Sophia music pieces are really, really interesting. The Solstice one, to me, there's a lot of references to the divine feminine, obviously, with the female dancer, and she's sort of taking on, like, you know, the depicting sort of like the rays of the sun with all of her like arms coming out like that and everything else, right? See how that works, kind of similar to the sun. So the feminine, like the divine feminine, sort of interesting. And that's sort of been one of the themes of the Cicada puzzles, is like the divine feminine, right? We've talked about that a lot. Anyways, the branch over there. So I'm going to be going through some of the stuff that was dropped on the Discord. So shout out to everyone on the Cicada 3301 Discord. If you guys want to go over there and join that, I highly recommend it. Recently, there's been a flood of new people and new information to the Discord. So the Discord itself has just blown up recently. And all of the little discussion groups, you know, there's like music discussion, history discussion. I was in there and I was expecting it to be quiet as it had been, and I was blown away by all the new information in there. I was trying to like just play catch up. So obviously there's a lot like of people interested again, and there's a lot of people working on these. So it's really, really, really kind of cool. Yeah, heading over to Rockfin from YouTube. I don't care where everyone watches this. We got Rockfin, I got YouTube, and I have the DLive chat open. So that's where I can see people talking live. But obviously everyone should go over and check out the Cicada Discord if you want to help solve this. And maybe even win some Cicada 3301 tokens. But for sure, and most importantly, you will learn a lot of very, very interesting esoteric knowledge that is far more important than anything else. Like, that's the stuff that you learn just doing these puzzles and following along on the Discord is, like, really incredible. Like, it's a vast wealth of knowledge you won't get anywhere else. So, anyways, with that being said, the branch wrote all this stuff here, so credit goes to him or her, doesn't matter. The flood approaches at the end of the current media found at this here. So this is one of those old school puzzle videos. So if we go to the end. See here, like, they're showing the earth is flooded and the whales, you're seeing it inverted. So the whales are not trying to, like, fly away like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, you're seeing what, you know, fire in the heavens would look like from under the ocean if everything was inverted. Right? It's very interesting. And right here, like, to me, the pyramids were basically flooded, like, a long time ago. When the Great Flood took place, these things got buried in sediment, and then the Egyptians dug them out of the sediment. That's why, like, in the hieroglyphs, they're basically said to be, like, restoration projects. They're not constructing these things. They were just digging them out of the mud, basically, from what they got flooded in. So it's interesting you show the flood, and then you show, like, some of the best evidence for the flood, which is, like, the Egyptian, you know, stuff. Anyways, a video featuring Egyptian elements. Therefore, we should look at the flood through the lens. Which, yeah. Furthermore, the flood cipher is an object of focus here. For the clue here depicts a fox caught in a trap inside the temple while besieged by cicada-covered crows. In Pythagorean reduction, fox equals 666. So does this depict the fox caught in a trap within a temple that matches the description of the Antichrist who will declare himself God in the temple? And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Fox the name of that one person, Tanya, who was, like, friends of, like, Defango and all of that? Maybe I'm thinking too much into all this, but wasn't she, like, a big-time Egyptian expert as well, Tanya? Wasn't she all into Egypt and things of that nature? So is that why the fox has been caught in a trap, and then there's, like, Egyptian references there to see how that works? Because she was, like, caught and exposed. Like, the fox, Tanya, caught in a trap. I don't know. Just my thoughts on seeing that. In Revelation 7 and 9, we read how the locusts can only plague those with the mark of the beast, Nebuchadnezzar. So here we can assume that the fox is also the beast, or represents those whom are potential targets for locusts/crows. The Pharaoh was in charge of the harvest, hence 2 implements held by him, crossing his chest, the crook and the flail. The tools used to shepherd and thresh, under which hand you will find yourself after the flood. For it is written that the Lord will separate his people, the sheep from the goats. A gom jabber, like in Dune, the Arabic for Beetlejuice is Jabbar, referring to the arm of Orion Anu's shepherd, Orion Osiris, also known in the Hebrew as Kessel or the Fool. Spoken quote at about 4 minutes 2 seconds. 2 plagues approach. One afflicts the body, the other the mind. One from the land of pharaohs, the other from above. Right, so if we take a look back at this. Must not have been at the 420 mark. That's okay. Behind the sun and behind the ice dwells hell and paradise. Paradise is found on the TO map. Shem, the land of paradise in Asia. So if you look here, the Wikipedia T and O map. The T and O are OT-TO map, Orbis Terrarium, orb and circle of lands, the letter T and inside O, also known as the Isidoran map, is a type of early world map that represents the physical world as first described by the 7th century scholar Isidore of Seville in his De Natura Rerum, later is etymology. Although not included in the original Isidorian maps, a later manuscript added the names of Noah's sons, Sem, If, and Chem, for each of the 3 continents. See biblical terminology for race. So, Shem and Ham, like it's normally how it's seen. Those are the 2 that like end up having like all the offspring. The 3rd son of Noah has no offspring, if I'm correct. And you have, like, the line of Shem ends up being the line of Jesus. And that's where you get Shem from, which is the base of the word Shemite, right? So you get the word Shemite from the word Shem, which is one of the sons of Noah, which led to the bloodline that would end up being like Jesus and that bloodline. And then you have the Ham bloodline, which I believe here is the CHAM one. And that ends up being like the bloodline of like Babylon, right? So you get like King Nimrod, right, from that bloodline. That's where they go the other direction. Right, so that's the breakdown there. So the 2 bloodlines, like, you know, the good bloodline and then like the evil bloodline kind of separated all the way back at the very beginning when Noah had 3. And then the 3rd bloodline didn't end up being anything because he didn't have any kids. What's up there, BB Bay? Nice to see you there in the chat. Shem, son of Noah. Yes, yeah. I don't know if I have all that 100% correct, by the way. I could be off on some of that, so don't freak out. Just try to correct me and help explain in the thing down below. Here, a classic TO map with Jerusalem at the center, east toward the top, Europe at the bottom and left, and Africa on the right. The TO map up here, from the first printed version of Isidore's Etymology. So you can see, like, we've seen this map before. I've shown you this map before. I hope you guys all recognize this from the normal political show that I do. Okay? Like, you guys should instantly recognize what this is. Although Isidore taught etymology that the earth was round, his meaning was ambiguous, and some writers think he referred to a disc-shaped earth. However, other writers make Isidore make it clear that he considered the earth to be globular. Indeed, the theory of the spherical earth had always been prevailing assumption among the learned since at least Aristotle, who had divided the spherical earth into zones of climate, with a frigid climate at the poles and a deadly torrid climate near the equator, and a mild and habitable temperate climate between the 2. The T&O map represents only one half of the spherical Earth. It was presumably considered convenient projection of the known inhabited parts, the northern temperate half of the globe, It is then believed that no one could cross the torrid equatorial climb and reach the unknown lands on the other half of the globe. These imagined lands were called antipodes. The T is the Mediterranean, the Nile, and the Don, formerly called the Tanais, dividing the three continents, Asia, Europe, and Africa, and the O is the encircling ocean. Jerusalem was generally represented in the center of the map. Asia was typically the size of the other two continents combined. Because the sun rose in the east, Paradise, the Garden of Eden, was generally depicted as being in Asia, and Asia was situated at the top portion of the map. So it's a fairly interesting map. It has a lot of relevance in our day and age because if you look at the bunting clover leaf map, right, this is the Belt and Road Project. This is the same map that you're looking at here with the T&O map. You have Asia, Africa, and Europe all the same size, and they're all isolated away from America. This is just a later version of the same thing, but the same idea prevailed, as you can see here, right? So that map became this map, which then became the Belt and Road Initiative Plan, which is literally what's going on today with this ancient cult implementing these things. In AT or O map, or OT and TO map, Orbis Terrarium, orb of circle of lands with the letter T inside O, is also known as the Isidoran map. It's a type of early world map that represents the physical world. The same orb that was held in, you can see the Da Vinci painting here. Okay, so you see the orb with the three, right? It's the same sort of thing, right? The same orb held by the Savior of the world, which just happens to be the phrase found on the sleeve in the figure that Cat shared. Then you can see here, see the T on the globe, see how the globe's divided into the three sections, right? And you get the three dots on the globe. This is an alchemical symbol, but is also formally known as the globus cruciger, hence the alchemical association with rulership to wear the crown, as did the pharaohs. This idea leads to concept of spiritual captivity. The body and blood of the mystic lamb grants into us agency and sovereignty over scorpions and serpents. Both of these creatures represents the severity of God's law. A bite or sting issued forth from the priesthood at the scales, bearing a serpent in the left hand. The wages of sin are death, however. The blood of the lamb adds an H to sin, thus redeeming through shin. And you can see here's the Wikipedia for the globus cruciger. The globus cruciger, also known as the orb in the cross, is an orb surmounted by a cross. It has been the Christian symbol of authority since the Middle Ages, used on coins, in iconography, and as a scepter as royal regalia. The cross represents Christ's dominion over the orb of the world, literally held in the hand of an earthly ruler. An iconography of Western art, when Christ himself holds the globe, he is called Salvator Mundi, Latin for Savior of the World. For instance, the 16th century infant Jesus of Prague statue holds the globus cruciger in this manner. See here Christ as Salvator Mundi by Andrea Previtali, and he has the transparent orb once again in his hand, just like in the Da Vinci painting, right? Holding the world in one's hand, or more ominously under one's foot, has been a symbol since antiquity. To the citizens of the Roman Empire, the plain spherical globe held by the god Jupiter represented the world or the universe, as the dominion held by the emperor. A 2nd century coin from the reign of Emperor Hadrian shows the Roman goddess Salus with her foot upon a globus, and a 4th century coin from the reign of Emperor Constantine I shows him with a globus in hand. The Orbis Terrarum was a central to the iconography of the Tetrarchy, in which it represented Tetrarch's restoration of security to the Roman world. Constantine I claimed to have had a vision of the symbol of Christ above the sun, with the words in the sign, "You shall conquer," in hoc signo vinces, before the Battle of Milvian Bridge in AD 312. The symbol is usually assumed to be Chi Rho XP symbol, but some think it was a cross. Consequently, his soldiers painted the symbol on their shields and then defeated their foe, Maxentius. Now, does that seem like that would be like a thing in real like? Do you really think that God spoke to Constantine by putting some sort of sign above the sun that told him he was going to kill a bunch of people and win some battle? No, sorry. I don't buy any of that. Constantine then created like a fake version of Christianity that became like the Catholic Holy Roman Empire after they like tried to persecute Christians forever, and it didn't work. So Constantine was no good guy. I don't believe that God spoke to Constantine. I believe the devil might have spoken to Constantine. Anyways, when the growth of Christianity in the 5th century, the world of the lands, hence orb derives, was surmounted by a cross, hence globus cruciger, symbolizing Christians' God dominion of the world. The emperor held the world in his hand to show that he ruled on behalf of God. Right. To non-Christians already familiar with the pagan globe, their surmounting of a cross indicating the victory of Christian over the world. In medieval iconography, the size of an object relative to those of nearby objects indicated its relative importance. Therefore, the orb was small and the one who held it was large to emphasize the nature of their relationship. Although the globe symbolized the whole earth, many Christian rulers, some of them not even sovereign, who reigned over small territories of the earth, used it symbolically. And while I'm reading all this, it kind of reminds me of... do you remember that Trump glowing orb Saudi Arabia photo? Remember this? Where they're all touching the glowing orb. Like, is that what this is all about? Is this like a modern day, you know, these guys? This is a modern day same thing, right? Trump and all these guys holding the glowing orb, right? Is that the modern day globus cruciger? Is that what you guys are doing there? The globus cruciger is associated with powerful rulers and angels. It adorned portrayals of both emperors and kings and also archangels. It remained popular throughout the Middle Ages in coinage, iconography, and royal regalia. The papacy, which is in the Middle Ages rivaled the Holy Roman Emperor in temporal power, also used the symbol on top of the papal tiara, which consisted of a triple crown. The Pope did not use a separate orb as a symbol. The globus cruciger, made up of a monde and cross, was generally featured as the finial of European crowns, whether on physical crowns or merely in royal heraldry. For example, in Denmark, the Holy Roman Empire, Hungary, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Romania, Spain, Sweden, and Yugoslavia, it is still not only in the arms of European polities for which a monarchy survives, it also, since the end of communism in 91, in the arms of some of the Eastern polities, despite the termination of their historical monarchies, even in the modern era, in the United Kingdom and the sovereign's orb symbolizes both the state and Church of England under the protection and domain of the monarchy. Hello there, Baby Fist and Marcia Stockton. Nice to see you guys there. Thank you for stopping in. And Smize21, thanks for all the stickers there on DLive. Very funny. Rather distracting, some of those stickers, not gonna lie. These are also the seals opened by the mystic Lamb of God in Revelations. A deed is handed to the Lamb of God, and as each seal is opened, Babylon is judged while the lambs of God are led into their sheepfold. A pharaoh is a shepherd of men of sorts, but more a hunter because of the oppression, opposed to the fisher of men, which is, obviously Jesus Christ, because he's saving souls, right? And he taught people, he's like fishing souls from the damned. Like, that's, The two implements of the pharaoh are the shepherd's staff and flail. The flail represents the severity aspect once more, while the shepherd's staff is associated with God's mercy. The globeless cruciger, held by the Savior of the world, represents the same relationship. While the other hand of the figure in the painting is pointing upwards in a certain mudra blessing, signifying the return of a pharaonic from above, where another plague comes from in the quote. Two plagues approach. One afflicts the body, the other the mind. One from the land of pharaohs, the other from above. Behind the sun and beneath the ice dwells hell and paradise. The word influenza literally translates into influence of the giant's stars. So we're not under the influence of a plague named Corona. No, we absolutely are. Like, Corona is like a thing. It became like a goddess at the very beginning because it became like this meme, Corona-chan, and everyone even called it like the female goddess Corona-chan is here to unleash, hell on you. She's gonna come coof on you and all this stuff. We literally, everybody on the internet for a while was joking about the small Asian goddess Corona-chan, right? And it became like a complete meme. BB Bay says, isn't Peter the one Jesus named the fisher of men? Jesus seemed to me that he was angry at Peter because he saw his church would become and how he would betray him. Peter was crucified upside down. Interesting. Yeah, I think you're probably right. The word influenza literally translates the influence of giant stars. So we have the Corona-chan goddess, right? Sovereignty is the name of the game. Do not let the devil get your crown. Oh, no, I'm supposed to put this back on. This is also a depiction of above the serpent bearer, also known as the Opi Ucus, but this is not the same as a title given to Asclepius, the son of Apollo. It's that the rod with the snake is the Asclepius rod, right? There you go. The rod of Asclepius, right? The rod of Asclepius is an ancient Greek symbol associated with medicine, consisting of a serpent coiled around a rod. In ancient Greek religion and mythology, Asclepius was the god of medicine and healing. His daughters are Hygeia, god of cleanliness, Iaso, god of recuperation from illness, Akeso, goddess of the healing process, and Aglaea, the goddess of splendor and adornment, and Panacea, the goddess of universal remedy. So this is also a depiction above the serpent bearer, the Okiekis, but is not a name, as a title given to the Asclepius, son of Apollo, represented thus, and is the same as the figure in the sky who divides the serpent into two parts, the serpent's cauda tail and the serpent's caput head, which is where you will also find the corona borealis, of all things. So you see how this is another one of these predictions that was in this video here. Okay. So then there was what seems like an older solver came by, going by the name of, and what's up there, Anna Cooper? Nice to see you there in the chat. So, like, as I was saying, so Thomas was able to predict this, like, corona thing. And I'm going to get into some other stuff here. It's kind of interesting stuff. Anyways, Lucas Elliott dropped all this. But before I move on, I want to read the stuff by BB Bay there in the chat. Upper right corner of the puzzle has two black flowers that weren't from the original drawing of Loki from the Sam 66 manuscript. Could be black lotus, black magic petunias, or something else. The Corona Borealis supercluster, not the Dark Horse, the 9, the Serpent Bearer. Yeah, that's right. So if you see here, the serpent's codger tail and the serpent's cupped head, which is where you can also find the Corona Borealis, right? Anyways, now getting into whatever, or whoever Lucas Elliott is, but he seems to know quite a bit. And I asked Thomas if this was correct, and Thomas was like, yeah, a lot of this is correct. So, Lucas Elliott said this: Epiphany seeks the devoted, looking at all the hubris attached to the Cicada 3301 and all the attempts to hijack it by certain people who are engulfed in issues of ego. Let me clarify some things. Well, I'll clarify something before we even get into it. From an outsider's perspective, I've seen the people who tried to hijack the puzzles that came along after the puzzles were created. So Thomas and Iona Miller, which we confirmed a while ago with the I Am stuff, because the I Am stuff was in the Liber Primus, and it goes back to Iona Miller and Thomas, and like them referencing themselves in the Liber Primus, right? Which proves they were a part of the creation of that. So that means they were the originals, okay? And then you have these people like DeFango and Lestat, and they came along and tried to hijack the puzzle, right? And they tried to create something else out of it, and then other people tried to hijack it, like that Esteban Trujillo guy. And then they tried to connect it to stuff like 17 Anon, which was all done by Lestat, DeFango, and Esteban, right? There was no connection between 17 Anon and Thomas or Cicada. That's all total nonsense. You have to go through like 95 different like ridiculous Always Sunny style friggin' charts to even like come up with like some theory. I mean, it's completely insane. So if you want to look at who the hijackers are, it's been proven now. The people who tried to come in and hijack it were DeFango and Lestat, Arturo. And DeFango has said, like, his whole existence on the internet is just to make money and be famous. That's, like, why DeFango has a YouTube channel. So, of course, if someone like that would look at these puzzles and be like, well, what's in it for me? What can DeFango get out of making Cicada videos, right? Oh, that's all it was for him. It was like, what does DeFango get out of this? Right? So that's why they tried to hijack it, because they were like, oh, well, we didn't get enough, so now let's try to hijack it, since, you know, we didn't get the money and the fame or whatever they thought they were going to get out of it. So anyways, let's get into the comment by Lucas Elliott here. So Lucas states, and I'm pretty sure Lucas is like an old solver or something. Ian was a recruit into an idea, a concept, 2011. Iona was influenced by Thomas, who she knew since 2010, maybe earlier. Thomas was influenced by Iona as well. They had differences which show up in the puzzle. For one, Iona liked Crowley, Aleister Crowley. Thomas hated Aleister Crowley. Iona liked Dragonflies by Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley is that, like, satanic, creepy founder of Thelema guy, right? IO is the cry of the lower as OI of the higher. In figures, they are 1001. In letters, they are joy. Thomas rejected Crowley as a fraud. And that's true. Aleister Crowley was a fraud. He's also like an intelligence asset. Thomas wanted a pilgrimage, a holy pilgrimage. Iona was the handler for a man named Latrell Osborne, who was the first black CIA agent. She did not actually handle anyone. She would just jest about being a spy. Ian was someone who Thomas probably met when Ian was at Sun Micro. Ian had the technical knowledge to create where Iona could not. There was a fellow named Lone Tree, whom Iona was close with. That's why there is a Lone Tree in Liber Primus. Lone Tree was someone who was very close to Iona. I think they are both dead now. Rest in peace. Iona believed Thomas was a descendant of Count Thomas Saint-Germain, the great alchemist and composer. Iona believes this because Thomas can predict things similar to a manner as Saint-Germain, and he can also compose music, as Saint-Germain was a music composer as well. Thomas rejected that he is related to Saint-Germain. They were very different in many ways, but very alike in others. It's interesting all this being said because there was this solver, like cicada person, White Rabbit. If you guys remember the White Rabbit dude. And he came to me and was like very, very insistent that Thomas was like a descendant of Saint Germain and wanted me to do like a big, huge like expose on Thomas, that Thomas was like this Illuminati type person and, you know, tied to Saint Germain and all this stuff. It was like totally nuts. Anyways, yeah, so there's like this connection between Thomas and Saint Germain, which is kind of interesting. So Iona believed that Thomas was this because of the predictions and things like that. But Thomas didn't believe in it, so she'd call him Doubting Thomas. They taught each other things. They dream up music philosophy idea. Iona coins the name Sophia Music. TS then changes it to Germanic Sophia Music with a K. Thomas studied Da Vinci and Mozart and loved puzzles, but he predicts a coming plague and a war and a collapsed economy, which is all in this video here. Like, I forget exactly where it is. It's somewhere near the end. But all those predictions come out of this video here. That they'll be the authors of a great conflict, which, you know, we have the war in Ukraine raging on right now. Stones cause multitudes to perish in waves, the markets do collapse. When they say that, I wonder if what they mean is, like asteroids or something. But the market is already basically collapsed. Thomas wanted a puzzle based on prime numbers because he considers prime holy. Iona wants the project to be called Third Eye. T.S. wanted the pilgrimage idea because he went on pilgrimages in Europe and was obsessed with cathedrals, plagues, war, and privacy. Enter Ian in 2010. He calls Thomas a cicada since he is such a privacy freak. Iona loves the idea, calling the puzzle idea cicada. Thomas barely knew what a cicada was, but he knows about epiphany, music, and more. Launched in 2012, 2013, Michael Levine. Richard Todd Miller, also known as Z, watches TS from 2013 when Sophia Music launches. Weird because Iona's husband was named Richard Allen Miller. Lurker369 was an early solver. He brought in Brotherbox. Knox was known as ill back in the day. He was not a fan of esoteric ideas. He liked computer science only. Marcus Wanner was an early solver who promised he could create an encryption program. He was a kid, he bit off more than he could chew, and Thomas told Ian to fire him. In fact, all the early solvers were dumped because they could not keep their mouths shut. If I can get back to Tennessee, I have flash drives with old IRC chat logs. There are other people like Nate Drendel, who Thomas introduced to Iona. Is he here? So this is, as you guys can see, I copied all this directly from the Discord, which is a public Discord. Anyone can go in there and see this stuff. Study This Video is the soundtrack for Liber Primus, composed by Thomas, but then Ian died. The track was later used in 2019 when Thomas dreamed he was about to be attacked by forces that most people do not understand. Was he crazy? No. Because I've had to deal with all these same idiots. So I didn't have any premonition of these people coming after me, but they certainly went after Thomas as well. It's funny to see how this all turned out. I only hope the server decides to honor the great Iona Miller. Ian M. may have digitized a now world-famous puzzle, but it was Iona Miller and Thomas, that'd be Ian Murdoch, who forged the blueprint despite their disagreements. But yeah, all three of them were like the original creators, and then Bruce Cooper Clark Jr. too as well, obviously, who helped fund the whole thing. At the beginning. A now world-famous puzzle was Iona Miller and Thomas and Ian Murdoch, who forged the blueprint despite their disagreements. Here's one of the images that was going to be used in 2016, but Ian died and it all went to hell. I didn't copy the image. You have to go into the Discord server to see some of this stuff. Glad to see the puzzle back and running and new people on board. The 2016 puzzle was angry and had no PGP. The puzzle was angry because Ian died in late 2015. The 2017 creators were Thomas and friends, and in March, Z started to co-create. A man named Nate Drendel is involved, someone Iona was teaching with Thomas's approval. Find him, he can verify things. I think the 2018 puzzle was okay, but not like the 2019 puzzle. That is the most terrifying puzzle I've ever experienced. There are dark clouds forming around the world. Somehow this is the path. Bless you, pilgrims. And yeah, this puzzle here, like, very, very dark. Obviously, like, the world is a dark place. So if it was predicting the things coming, well, we're not living exactly in sunshine and rainbows in 2022, are we? Anyways, Kat states here, it's mind-boggling to me that the same solvers who Thomas wanted out of the puzzle for good reason have tried to trash his name repeatedly. They keep asking for evidence of any cicada involvement of Thomas pre-Liber Primus. Like, there's plenty of evidence, we've already covered it. They damn know well the evidence is out there, as I was just saying. Let me provide a clear example. 2013. The Facebook post is from Lori Dupron, Thomas's ex-wife. Solvers who use Facebook can go see for themselves. I hope Titus Frost, that would be me, is watching this thread. Yeah, I'm watching the thread. You're now in my show notes. The heart and soul of Cicada 3301 is here. The ideals, philosophies of Cicada are privacy, enlightenment, and music. Are Thomas and Iona's. Here's the proof, everyone. Forget the PGP argument. It's a silly one. Nobody uses PGP these days. The facts are clear. The early solvers were butthurt after Thomas wanted them expelled. Turns out Thomas had good instincts after all. One might say prophetic. And then here you have another example, right, of the prophetic nature of this whole thing. So Iona predicted that Thomas's muse would be this lady here on the screen, right? So she predicted this like way back in like 2013, something like that. Now, if I go to Twitter, and we go pull up Anna Cooper, let's see. Picture of Anna. Was this like the 1 week that we don't get selfies? All right, here we go. So here's Anna Cooper with one of her selfies, okay? Hello. Hello from down under. I'm Anna Cooper. Okay. So here we have her, right? And here is a picture of the muse that was predicted in 2013. And now Thomas and Anna are, I believe they're getting married. That's what I've been told. And she's like the inspiration and now like running like a lot of the puzzles and doing a lot of the work. And I know they opened up a Cicada like club or something down in New Zealand. So pretty cool stuff. And obviously another one of these predictions right here. So Iona Miller predicted Thomas's muse would be this lady. And now Thomas's muse, many years later, is this lady. Right? Pretty close to the damn identical. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. So there is an old video from one of TS's parties, like in 1997 or 1998, where he's on camera saying, "The primes are sacred," and playing primes on piano. It was when he was married to the Persian lady Layla, or whatever her name was. TS is an outlier on this planet. Gifted beyond... I'm not the one writing this, by the way. This is written by Kat. Gifted beyond imagination, so was Iona. She used to reach out to me a long time ago in 2012 and was a guide. Cicada is a music puzzle, as you guys figured out. I'll get you folks some old screenshots in a few months with the IRCs from the first puzzle. The Gospel of Thomas is mentioned in the very beginning. Grey Wolf, Iona Miller's friend, was even presenting about chaos theory in 1994. Was Marcus Wanner even a twinkle in his mother's eye in 1994? You can see that for yourself by clicking on this link. And here you have Grey Wolf Fred Sweeney bio, right? It gets into like all this back in like 83 to present. Okay. So over time, the truth comes out, right? As time goes on, more and more of these facts become quite apparent. So when I said that Cicada 3301 was created by Bruce Clark Jr., Thomas Schoenberger, Iona Miller, and Ian Murdoch, I was 100% correct. I'm still 100% correct. I've still identified that 100% correctly. And we've identified who tried to hijack the puzzles. And it's just interesting. Like when you go and you see how many of the predictions come true. The plagues, the economy collapsing, the muse. It's all, becoming very apparent what the truth is over time. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown. There's a bunch more stuff coming. I know there's going to be more ties in to, I believe, Egypt with things coming up, so definitely keep an eye on that. There's definitely a reason why Egypt is so prominently featured. I also know there's a lot of stuff still out there. Like there was a QR code that I believe popped up somewhere in the US. Was it Kentucky or something like that? But these things are going to keep popping up all over the place. And not only will that help you, solve the puzzle, things like this, but it will also benefit you in terms of receiving the Cicada tokens. So get out there, try solving, try to find some of these QR codes posted in places, and keep your eyes peeled for more Cicada drops, because there's definitely a lot more stuff coming. So, The Truth of Time. This is another video by John Lemon and Lemonade over there, and this one was composed by Thomas Schoenberger from Sophia Music. So shout out to all those guys, and I hope you enjoyed the show tonight, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful night, and we'll be back here on the Cicada YouTube channel with another installment of this very soon. So thank you all, and I'll see you guys on the Cicada Discord and out there on Twitter. Peace, everybody, and shout out to all the solvers. Nice to see you guys all out there on the Cicada Discord, and you guys are really, really doing some excellent work, finding some very interesting stuff. So, peace, everyone. Have a nice night. Take care.